Gary Lineker has been suspended by the BBC for breaching their impartiality rules. This is apparently because it's against BBC policies to call the government Nazis. Potentially. As a result of a tweet that Mr. Lineker sent regarding the government's treatment of asylum seekers, specifically the announcement of their new immigration bill, Gary Lineker tweeted, Gary Lineker made this tweet. I mean, if you can't call the government of the day Nazis, what has the world come to? Right? Now, obviously, I don't condone the language used because, of course, denying asylum seekers the ability to enter the UK and, systematically killing millions of people are very different things that should not be confused. But I will always speak out against censorship, right? It is not for anyone to decide what you can say. That is a decision for you and your conscience. No one else. And yeah, the BBC has done this. The BBC has has suspended Gary Lineker. And the entirety of the sports presenting team on the BBC has walked out and has refused to go on air in solidarity. So that's going well for the BBC. And yeah, so that is one of the big things that's happened at the moment. Even the Prime Minister, who arguably was the one being called a Nazi, felt it appropriate to speak out. There has been a major backlash, and the reason is twofold. One, the BBC should not be censoring Gary Lineker or anyone else for what they say. Right? It is up to Gary what he says, but there's also rank hypocrisy here because Andrew Neil was permitted to stay on the BBC for 20 years despite being so conservative that he founded the UK's premier conservative news outlet, that being GB News. If you haven't watched it, just read Twitter for a bit. It's not much better than that. But that's one. And so there's the hypocrisy there that Andrew Neil was able to leave on his own accord, despite being right-wing all the time. But then Gary Lineker says something left-wing and he has to go. It just smacks of hypocrisy, and it does seem like there is a real right-wing bias, because the BBC has been focusing on this for the last week, right? It has been the main thing that they've been talking about. And let's not forget, this was a criticism of the government's plan to send people to Rwanda. That's, instead of interrogating and looking into the response to this policy, scrutinise the policy. And the BBC has massively failed. Now, I personally do not hold a TV licence. It's just not something that I have because I reside in the 21st century and don't watch analog TV, and I don't watch anything on BBC iPlayer. But there are people who pay for this licence. It's £160. And the country, by and large, is behind Gary on this one. Right? Not necessarily what he's saying, but his right to say it. And that is something that absolutely is appropriate. But at least this one is a TV network. Yes, a publicly funded one, but a TV network who has, suspended someone for what they've said. And after all, the BBC is technically a private institution, and so they can set their own policies. So, it could be well and truly within his contract. Right? I'm not well enough versed in contract law. Frankly, I'm not interested in contract law. But that is, it's a decision really for the BBC, but it is one that has not been welcomed by the British people by and large. However, this is not the only bit of TV-related censorship, because in the US, where censorship is very much not a thing, see literally any show on TV where they have to bleep out swearing. They don't do that here, by the way. But in the US, famed talking gargoyle Tucker Carlson is now facing calls to be cancelled by Fox News, including the Senate Majority Leader, and calling for a TV presenter to lose their job. Now, obviously this one has real harm. It's not like the other one where it just hurts the Conservatives' feelings. This one has real harm because Tucker Carlson, as many will know, is an election denier, and he said publicly after the election that Donald Trump had won, which arguably led up to the January 6th riot, which is a thing that happened and no one was thankful for it. But there is a weird thing of I'm kind of like in a weird place on this one, because of course I live by the idea that I may not agree with what you say, but I will fight for your right to say it. However, it did lead to a riot and the death of 5 people. So, it's kind of a bit of a mix. But it wasn't just him, it was the entirety of Fox News. Like Fox News, just a bit of UK info for you. Fox News is not broadcast here in the UK, right? Because it breaches our laws on impartiality in news. Basically, in the UK, you can't have news. The news cannot be politicised, right? It's not like in the US where you've got Fox News and Newsmax on the right, and then you've got News Nation and MSNBC on the left, and then you've got all the other networks on that spectrum. In the UK, you just have centrist, here's the news. And then some kind of total line like DB News, which is on the right, and Channel 4, which is on the left, but generally they're very centrist. Fox News obviously is unashamedly right-wing, and so it basically was taken off air in 2017. But it does seem that because the policy of the Republican Party at this point is that Trump won the last election, which he didn't, just to reiterate, Biden won, it does seem that it does seem inappropriate to demand that Fox News cancel Tucker Carlson, and that he be cancelled in the same way that Gary Lineker has been cancelled. Gary Lineker says it's a right wing cancel and left wing. But basically, in summary, cancel culture is alive and well in the Western world, it seems, and on both sides of the Atlantic, people are very annoyed at the fact that cancel culture is a thing, and we should probably think more about, which would really reflect on whether or not we actually believe in freedom of speech. Because again, freedom of speech, you either have it and you have it full throttle, with obviously exceptions like you can't be racist, you can't say racist things, you can't say homophobic things, you can't call for the assassination of the president, you can't do anything like that. But aside from those reasonable limitations on freedom of speech, you either have freedom of speech or you don't. We need to make that decision. For me, I'm in favour of freedom of speech. Not because I agree with everything that's said in the public sphere. Many things I do not agree with. I am very, very passionately opposed to the UK government's Rwanda plan and their handling of migration. Although I am currently in the process of moving to Canada, so I'm going to be a bit biased here. Right? And I am also passionately opposed to the big lie in the US. And passionately in favour of maintaining democracy and freedom of speech. But is everyone else? Is the majority? Like, it's not even like the majority reject something, so we cancel them. It's a minority, right? We're talking about backbench conservative. We're talking about angry people on Twitter that are ending careers and potentially ending freedom of speech as we know it. And it is very, very concerning. Thanks for watching. Now that is a bit more of a serious video. I did start doing political videos when I first started this channel, and there's another political video there for you. But if you did enjoy that video, then why not give it a like, comment if you have any thoughts on this. I imagine you will. And if you really like the video, then why not subscribe and ring the notification bell so you never miss another video. But until then, stay cool and stick by your values.